And welcome back, everybody, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast, and this is episode 48.
Yeah, man. let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this. I'm on the air, we got this podcast flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkle in some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome, everyone, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Bowes, and sitting virtually across from me is my co-host, Matty G.
Hello. How are you, Mr. Tony?
Doing well today, my friend. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just staying inside and enjoying the air conditioning today.
I'm jealous. I'm not in the AC section of the house. I'm in the hot studio. So and it's been a beautiful day, and it's hot. Yeah, for sure. Let's talking about hot. Let's talk about today's guest. He is well known for many different acting features. He's got a lot of things under his belt, but one that stands out amongst many, and one of the reasons we were really excited to have him here on the show today. We have Dominic Pace from The Mandalorian. Dominic, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hello to you, gentlemen, and hello to all your listeners.
We are super excited to have you on the show. I wish we were on the video. I'm wearing my Star Wars t-shirt today, just because of being able to have you on the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And the fans, that passion from the fans is the reason I'm here. I can't tell you how grateful I am to receive so much attention as a side character, but as a Star Wars fan myself, I've been enjoying every minute and been extremely grateful.
Honestly, you are living my childhood dream. Before we get into that and many more, Matty G, how about you hit us up with the news?
Yeah, absolutely. So this piece of news comes from Thailand. So Thai vets are performing mass sterilization as hungry monkeys terrorize the tourist city. So I read about this. I couldn't even believe it. But anyways, we'll dig in here. So Thailand has started sterilizing hundreds of monkeys in a city famous for its macaw population as the coronavirus pandemic leaves them hungry, aggressive, and wresting food from terrified residents. Lopburi province and its 2,000 monkeys have long been a draw for tourists from around the world who typically feed them and pose with them for selfies and other pictures. Since Thailand closed its borders on April 4th to control the coronavirus, the monkeys are not adapting to the new version of normal. They're so used to having tourists feed them, and the city provides no space for them to fend for themselves. With the tourists gone, they've been more aggressive, fighting humans for food to survive, she said. They're invading buildings, and they're actually forcing locals to flee out of their homes. Unlike monkeys in the wild, city monkeys need not hunt for food, giving them more time and energy to reproduce and cause trouble. To try to control their fast-growing populations, authorities have this week placed big cages around the city with tantalizing fruits, hoping to lure around 300 monkeys in for sterilization. Holy shit.
Wow. Talk about the forbidden fruit. That is crazy.
These vets aren't monkeying around.
Right. I was going to try to work that in somehow. Wow. Okay.
Just a crazy story I came across, true story, and I was just like, wow, that's wild.
I feel that's not the monkey's fault, right? Like they brought these things in, they use them as a tourist attraction. They give them food. Of course, they procreate. And now they're just like, you know what? We're sterilizing you.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like getting married. What? No. Yeah. So interesting. All right. I actually also had some animal related news, but I really want to keep things down very, very low because of course of our guest, and we want to spend some more time asking questions. So my article title is John Bomber was arrested wearing a I Have Drugs t-shirt. So a Florida man, good old Florida, he may be questioning his wardrobe choice after being arrested for meth and marijuana possession while wearing a shirt reading, "Who needs drugs? No, seriously, I have drugs." The John Bomber, who's 50, was arrested in a Kmart department store in Hudson, Florida, on Tuesday, according to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, who posted a photo of Balmer wearing the shirt on his Facebook page. Balmer had been charged on one count of possession of meth and another count of possession of marijuana, not more than 20 grams, authorities said. So I feel like this is one of those, it was kind of like the, remember the floor mat or the doormat article we had several episodes ago where they are like, where's your warrant? Yeah, if you're wearing a shirt like that, I mean, you might as well be prepared.
Yeah, that's just hilarious, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah. You should see his look on his face on his mugshot though. It's clearly like that. Damn, really didn't think this shirt through kind of look on his face.
Only in Florida.
Yep. Oh, excellent. Love it. So, Dominic, thanks again for coming up on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I gotta tell you. So I had mentioned earlier, like you're living almost every childhood dream right now, as a new Star Wars character, and even working with the franchise alone. I gotta ask you, how did it come about? Like, how did you land this part?
Well, I've been a blue-collar character actor for about 20 plus years. I don't turn down work. I have booked a number of guest stars throughout the years, and to the disappointment of some agents, they always wanted me to just stay at the guest star level. But, there's an old 1955 film called Marty, to where I don't, basically, it's not that I don't want to continue to progress within my career, but it's one of these things to where I just love being on set. So I never turn down work. And this happened to be a simple makeup test, which someone of my credits probably would turn down. Most of my peers would probably turn down. But I just said, you know what? I would rather be on set. I'd rather be working and doing whatever that's involved in the film industry than doing all the actor odd jobs here in Hollywood. So I went on this makeup test, and I had previous experience with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Marvel. I was in Bright with Will Smith. I was one of the orcs.
Yep.
And then I also doubled, a fun fact, Frankenstein on Van Helsing in 2002 opposite Hugh Jackman. So there was a lot of prosthetic with that. It's not the most enormous talent to have, but you can't be claustrophobic. You have to be patient. You've got to be friendly and down to earth, because these makeup artists are working with you for sometimes up to 6 hours. So yeah. I happened to be called in by a gentleman by the name of Brian Sipe, who's one of the heads of the makeup department at Legacy Effects. Legacy Effects is one of the top makeup industry companies within Hollywood in Atlanta, and he headed up actually Drax, David Bautista, over at Guardians of the Galaxy for every one of the movies that he was involved in. Anyhow, long story short, we hit it off. There was no guarantee of work whatsoever after that one day of makeup test. But just like a gentleman, I just handed my business card. We actually talked briefly about our love of science fiction, even including Star Wars. And I just said, do you mind me asking, what is this for? And he said, look, we got to keep it just NDA right now, non-disclosure. 2 weeks later, I get called in for a screen test. And once I heard a screen test, I said, God, whatever this is, whether it's Marvel or DC, I didn't even think Lucasfilm. This has got to be pretty major to be called in for a screen test, because that usually means that the production has a tremendous budget. Normally, when you get called in for a production, you're normally just called in and you go to work that day because budget can't allow to have that extra day of testing.
Yeah.
I get in. It's an NDA agreement. I see Lucasfilm on the top. All of a sudden, I started shaking just a little bit, but it wasn't until I was invited into a private wardrobe office headed by Stephen A. Porro, legendary costume designer. He's done previous Star Wars projects. To where I started seeing the artwork on the wall, and then I go over to a hanger. He leads me into another room, and it says Dominic Pace, Bounty Hunter, with 3 different clothing options, and I was just beyond words. My hands started going numb. Obviously a tremendous amount of excitement, because just like you gentlemen and so many people listening, I've been a fan since 1980. I was 5 years old when I received my first playset. It was a Cantina playset, and on day one of filming, to be taken in to this Cantina with George Lucas and Jon Favreau standing at the bar talking about the history of the Mandalorian, and to be this one-of-a-kind bounty hunter created by Brian Sipe himself, nicknamed Gekko, was just beyond words.
Absolutely amazing. And speaking of your past and about being a huge Star Wars fan yourself, you have actually quite a Star Wars collection, if I heard correctly.
That's correct. If you YouTube Dominic Pace Entertainment Tonight, I was a kid in a candy store just like everyone else in 1999 at midnight. All the Toys R Us in the United States of America were filled with all Gen Xers and younger kids, just having a great time reliving the old 80s memories. And they did a little feature on me. I had a film I was starring in called Miramax's That's the Way I Like It. It was a really cheesy spinoff of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
And they couldn't go with the end goal of me being a celebrity, so they said, we know you have a huge Star Wars collection. Episode 1 is coming out. So I was just happy to show the whole world my collection in my closet. But I love the vintage. People ask me what I collect. I just love the vintage because most importantly, it brings back those innocent memories of childhood when I was with my mom, with my grandparents, and just having a great time in 40 minutes north of New York, a town called Ossining, New York. That's where I grew up.
Okay. That is amazing. I know all those toys. I grew up with them myself. I mean, they really made them to last, and they were absolutely fantastic back then. So it's always nice when something new comes out in Star Wars, and they start making new pieces. And I'm assuming for collectors old and young, just seeing the new products that come out, and to me, I still look at some of the original characters, and they were so unique. They weren't overly posable. Your arms moved, the legs moved, a lightsaber came out, a hand kind of thing, which was pretty cool. But with today's technology, they're making them quite articulate and so realistic to scale. And now it kind of looks like online that's something you have to look forward to yourself.
Oh God! You mean in terms of my own figure?
Yeah, I've seen some people out there trying to jump the gun and get these things made, and that's that. My heart breaks because 15 years ago, Lucasfilm, if you were a table in the corner of Episode 2, you'd have a figure by now. Yes.
Disney kind of switched. Disney has kind of switched it a little bit to where even the lead bounty hunters, in Episode 5, I believe, with Bill Burr. They haven't received anything yet, and obviously due to COVID, it's kind of changed off. But I'll tell you, the fans have been just absolutely amazing, and the campaign, I just got a great tweet from the head of Star Wars Bounty Hunters from Marvel yesterday. It's for everyone to see on my Twitter, where Ethan Sachs himself, who's the creator of this comic book, is trying to get Gekko and get him some canon story as well. So the fans have just been absolutely amazing, and I've just been reciprocating in terms of how much I can do in regards to charitable organizations like the 501st, the Rebel Legion, Sith Dynasty, Mandalorian Mercs, anything I can do to make a kid happy, whether sending a video or obviously this big tour that I have going throughout the country, starting in a few days. I've just been so grateful for all the attention, and the beauty of Star Wars is really about hope. It's about friendship. It's about togetherness. That's always what I've been about. So to be able to be a small ambassador of that, it's just been an honor for me over the last 7 months, and looking forward to continuing that on throughout my career there.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. Now, Maddie, I know you and I are a bit of a different generation gap, but you're a big tech nerd just like myself. So you're much of a Star Wars fan as I am, right?
Oh yeah, man. It's funny. I was really big into Star Wars, and it was funny because my grandfather, I remember, growing up in my family, like my immediate family, mom, dad, sister, we were always into Star Wars, but my grandfather was really into Star Trek. So did we ever have some interesting, we'll call them discussions around which one was better?
Yes, the star bait, yes.
But you know what's funny? He got me to watch some episodes of Star Trek, and I learned to appreciate it as much. But Star Wars has always had a special place in my heart, and but I never had the old figures. I was always a He-Man kid. I always had Masters of the Universe.
You'll get the hell off this podcast right now.
Yeah,
that's cool. I had some of those too. Right? I did.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's another
unapologetically honest.
Yes,
but
that's fine.
Yes. We actually just went. So my kids hadn't seen the originals, and we just watched the remasters, the 4K remasters that just came out of the originals.
Yep.
And they love them. They loved every single one of them. It's funny because they're at the age now where they're a little analytical and like in episode 3 there where he's my son just wouldn't let it go why Anakin would jump over Obi-Wan when he had the high ground. He's like, that it's so stupid. He had the high ground. So anyways, we had some good laughs, and it's nice to see spreading the Star Wars love into the younger generation as well. So
for sure. So, Dominic, you were mentioning that, and I think I've actually even seen some of these drawings myself. But they're looking at going the way of a potential comic book history or a backstory for Gekko.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, we've done a really innocent campaign. I was scared at first because I thought, we signed a lot of strict agreements, and I was afraid when I first started doing my first interviews that I might have got an email from Disney